tornadoes, sometimes if you're lucky, the power only blips at your house like it did at mine recently.
About that is hail. How do solar panels perform when it comes to hail?
So if you want to have consistent backup power that can run for many days at a time, then a generator might be a better solution.
Hey there, guys. Angelo with Advanced Renewable Concepts here. I got one of my partners in crime here, David. He's our residential sales manager, and we got a couple of questions in here from some local homeowners. With some of the stuff about the recent storms and having solar, some stuff about batteries, and we're just going to kind of jump through those real quick and see about trying to answer those for you guys. David, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself. I already kind of gave you an introduction.
You bet. Hi, I'm David Downs, residential sales manager with Advanced Renewable Concepts.
Awesome, and we'll jump right into it. So the first question we had is, if I get solar panels, will my fridge stay on when the power goes out? David, I'll let you take that one. That's a great one.
You bet. We get this question all the time in solar, and the answer is no. It's actually all grid-tied systems, grid-tied solar arrays, per the National Electric Code, shut off when they lose grid power. It's a life safety issue for the utility workers. You can't have solar backfeeding the grid while it's off because, again, that would cause a life safety hazard for electrical linemen as they bring the grid back up. But you can connect a battery to your solar array, and that will provide power when the grid goes down. Batteries are available in all different sizes. One of our partners is Enphase, and Enphase makes what's called a 5P battery. You can either have it's actually 6 kilowatt hours of power that are delivered or available in that battery, but you can daisy chain or connect them together to make a much larger, a 5, a 10, a 15, or even a 20 or 25 up to 30 kilowatt hours of power from those batteries. A small battery will power your fridge and your freezer to get you through a day or two of the power being out. No problem. But if you want to run your air conditioner or your heater or your hot tub or keep a whole series of fish tanks running in your basement, it's all possible, but that would take a much larger battery array to do that. Or we also offer generator solutions. So if you want to have consistent backup power that can run for many days at a time, then a generator might be a better solution for that.
And now, David, when you say a generator, you just mean like the traditional standby generator.
That's right. We're not talking about the portable units you would get from, let's say, Lowe's or Home Depot. Those will power smaller loads. These are whole home backup generators, usually powered by natural gas, so they run a little quieter, and they're available in sizes 20, 22, 24 kW. That's going to power most homes continuously for days at a time.
And David, you bring up a great point about the generator backup, and I think that's a really important distinction. Here at ARC, that's one thing I feel like we kind of pride ourselves on, is our ability to maybe say no sometimes, even when it's it's hard to say no. And what I mean by that is not every house makes sense for solar, whether that's because your location has, loads of trees, or your roof architecture is just not great for solar panels. Maybe your neighbor's house is taller than yours, and so it casts a huge shadow on your house 3/4 of the day. So you end up with really a pricey investment for something that you're not going to get that return on investment. It's not going to really work well for you. So even if solar plus batteries doesn't make sense, maybe a standby generator is somebody's best opportunity in a downtime as well.
That's right. Or if you have, we've talked with customers who have, for instance, they need reliable power for medical devices. That's something that, again, a battery powered with a solar array could be a solution, but also there's choices. So if you want something that's absolutely reliable and understand the give and take, with a standby generator, there is some noise involved when that's running. But if that standby reliability is more important to you and you can tolerate the noise, then there's multiple solutions.
And one thing I would add to that too, if somebody really truly wants that whole home true redundancy, we can put it all together. That is an option.
That's
so
right.
we have on many occasions, we have done solar plus battery plus standby generator. Because, here in the Midwest, we do run into times where we do have quite a few days in a row where you don't have ideal solar production, or certain times of the year where the sun just isn't out as many hours as it is the rest of the year.
Sure. Or we experience all kinds of severe weather here. We've had storms that were not snowstorms, but ice storms.
Yeah.
And ice consistently brings down power lines. So when you have a severe ice storm like that, you're in the heart of winter, you need something to bring that power quickly back to your house. And an ice storm could knock the power. We've seen in the St. Louis area, people were out of power for a week. We also just experienced severe springtime thunderstorms. Those high wind events, tornadoes, sometimes if you're lucky, the power only blips at your house like it did at mine recently. But for other folks, if you have a limb bring down a line, which is the most common accident on the grid, it's vegetation that hits the power lines, causes them to fail. So when that happens, you could be out of power for as little as a half a day, but you could also be out for, just recently we've had people out for 3 days, and not everyone is back up in that time frame, because it takes time for the linemen to come down to every last little portion of the grid to repair the lines and bring power back to your house.
And David, you really kind of tandem into our next two questions that we had. One of the other questions we had is my solar panels system, my solar system, sorry, I'm reading, my solar system doesn't work when it snowed. We get that a lot in the winter, and a lot of people almost misconstrue that their system is not working. So most of the solar panel platforms, that especially the ones we offer, all come with some type of digital monitoring. And on that digital monitoring, you see an array and all your solar panels kind of sitting next to each other. And during the winter months, especially after we get a boatload of snow or a boatload of ice, those panels are entirely covered, so sunlight is actually not penetrating through them. So it actually shows zero. It shows that there's no production. And so we get a lot of calls around, the winter months of, my system is down, it's broken, come out and fix it. And that's when our team, our customer experience team and our project managers, they have those conversations, and they ping our customer systems, and they say, hey, your system's actually reporting normal. It's that your panels are entirely covered. So that's why they're not showing, system production as well.
That's right. And that's why those monitoring apps that we talk to people about are so valuable, because it sounds a little funny to say it this way, but zero doesn't mean broken.
Exactly.
Zero can mean that the panels are entirely covered with snow and ice. As soon as it warms up, the modules on the roof do a good job. Usually, the metal frame of a solar panel can absorb the heat energy from the sunlight. It warms the glass. In a normal situation, it could snow. The next day or two following that snowstorm, it's going to be sunny.
Yep.
It might still be cold, but the sun's energy will warm up the mod enough, the snow will slide right off. The modules are good at sort of naturally uncovering themselves. But like this year in 2025, we had snow followed by 3 weeks of bitter cold temperatures. So the snow and ice remained on the modules for a long time. And I saw this at my house. My solar production in January was quite low. But again, this is part of the normal weather conditions that are factored into when we give somebody a solar estimate. All of that data is baked into the proposal, because we know maybe it's one every 3 years, but it does happen that we get that kind of snow that really reduces the output of a solar array. And I always like to tell people, look, if you look at a production graph for a solar array in this area, you're going to see the output of the array in the summer be twice what it is in the winter. Mm-hmm. And it's for all of those reasons. We get more severe weather. Obviously, in the summertime, there's longer days. There's more sun hours on the modules, so they're going to make more naturally. But it's also related to temperature as well.
Yep.
So when that happens, we just ask customers, hold on tight. April and May will be here soon.
Yep.
And your solar array will be back to producing the output that you expect. But it is possible when you have those severe weather conditions.
And when in doubt, call us. We're always here to help. We're happy to walk through your system and, double check it, make sure everything is operationally working correctly as well. This kind of tandems into kind of our same storm question, since we did just have a lot of storms roll through here in the Midwest. One of our users asked, hey there, we've just recently had very strong storms come through our area. If I get solar panels, how do they do with storms? That's a great one. The most common question we get about that is hail. How do solar panels perform when it comes to hail? Most solar panels tolerate up to about golf ball size hail. And so for most people, when you think of a golf ball, that's not small. The other one we typically hear is wind. When these horrible straight line winds come through, how do the solar panels actually stay on the roof? How I like to boil that down to people is solar panels are physically attached to your roof with mounting brackets and racking. So for most people, if you're worried about the solar panels coming off in a windstorm or some type of severe weather event, if your solar panels are getting pulled off your roof because of wind, the last thing that we want you to be worried about right now is your solar panels. We want you to be ducking and covering and protecting your family, because the likelihood the rest of your roof is coming with it is very high. Solar panels are specifically designed to deal with high wind shear, as well as very, very high wind loads. So typically what we actually see is when severe weather patterns come through or severe wind comes through, the area surrounding the solar array is actually the part of the roof that is damaged, and the solar array is actually untouched. Because it's affixed to the roof, it's actually protecting those shingles underneath. So it's actually the surrounding area around the array that typically we see the most damage to, or people's half their roof is gone, their solar system is still online producing energy. So it's pretty interesting sometimes.
And the key is a good install is always going to have a secure mechanical attachment to your home, either to the trusses, or the decking, and that way your house can survive and the solar panels can survive any normal size severe weather that we have, all the way up to those tornadic winds. But again, we don't want a tornado to impact anybody, but it does happen. And if it does strike your house with solar, yes, of course, nothing can survive those tornadic winds. But everything up to that, your solar array is going to be just fine on your roof.
Well, guys, those were all the questions we had that we got sent in to us. We just want to say thanks for hopping on and going through that with us. As always, you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, through our YouTube. Directly give us a call or through one of our emails. Me, David, or one of our energy advisor team are more than happy to walk you through any of your questions. Or if you're an existing customer, if you have a question about your existing system, reach out to one of our project managers, or when in doubt, call our main line. We're happy to help you guys. Until next time, see you soon.
Thank you.